So I'm back at Shadow of the Beast. Last time I got past the castle, and then there was like this weird space area, and then there was a graveyard. And I'm thinking the graveyard's probably the end of the game. But I only got to it once. I haven't been back to it yet. And I think I'm getting pretty good at getting through. Like, I kept getting to the space section. I kept dying in the space section. I got through it twice, though. The first time I didn't have a key, because I was just, I was ignoring the key, because the locked door is at the end of the space section, and I hadn't even seen that door. So I knew I was going to run into a locked door sooner or later, but I thought it was better to skip the whole section where you go and get the key, so I could just run to the castle and practice the castle, because I needed a lot of practice on the castle. I think I'm okay with the castle now, though. Alright. Here's our little box art. It's going to ask us to switch the discs in a moment. Hi there, Marmot SRL. Oh wow, Duke Donuts is here. Just in time. Let's put disc 2 in. Press fire when ready. Hi there, EWitchW. How are you doing, Duke Donuts? What were you up to? Might and Magic 2. 2 Might, 2 Magical. On the Genesis. Was Might and Magic on like everything? I've never played a Might and Magic game except that like weird puzzle game. I played a demo for that on like the PS3 years ago. Alright, here it is, Beast by Reflections. Also known as Shadow of the Beast. So it seems like we were transported here in a mist. It talks about the mist clearing and then you can see stuff. But there isn't really a forest in front of you. The forest is all to the west. Or is your favorite Might and Magic? Or it's your most recommended one? Alright, so welcome. So I'm not going to go to the right. To the right is just this well. And this well is locked. It also has a sign next to it that says Ye. I like that it says Ye. Hi there, Tefla. Oh, I like that lone tree in the back there. I never noticed that before. There's another layer of tree besides the foreground trees. So I missed that bat, I missed that bat, but it's okay. I don't need full health here yet. So here's like 4 pixels on the ground, which I got a spot to jump over. Might and Magic has trilogies. Here inside the tree, there's a winding staircase that descends into darkness. If you keep going left past the tree, eventually a hole opens up in the ground and ends your game. Either Pulse Rival. 1 and 2 are more like wizardry. So there's our first thing to do. Under the tree. You got the staircase that shoots fire at you for some reason. Actually, they do kind of give a reason for this in the manual. Like, they said this is like a hideout of the evil wizards that you're out to get revenge on. And they have covered their hideouts in traps. So here's some things come from the ceiling. Often they don't touch you. You just keep going. Army of purple unicorn guys. They've got knee pads, but they're not protected against punches from a beast. So the story of this game is that you were a child that was kidnapped and transformed into a warrior beast by some evil wizards. And now that you're older, you've realized what they did to you, so you're trying to find them and get revenge. Hi there, Rat707. It's going well. Okay, so here's full health. So the 4 mistakes I made now no longer matter. Back at full health. And we're about to get first power up. I'll just walk down here instead of using that ladder. There's the wiggling fingers. So we just duck under this fire and punch the orb until it gives up its power. Rare parrot. Alright, so now we've got this power. We can like hold it and it sparkles, but I don't know if there's any use to that. Really just to punch with a projectile. So here's the transport. It just takes you closer to the boss. You can actually get back there just by climbing some ladders, but this is faster. A little bit. Shazam style, where he's still the kid. I don't know, it seemed like you've been at this for years. Alright, so I gotta do a lot of damage to it. Comes at you the 3 times. The 3rd time it's gonna come all the way to this wall here and crush you. If you touch this thing, it's a game over. So you gotta just deal damage to it as fast as you can. It's funny, like the first couple of times, it seemed like it might be impossible, because like I kept fighting it, and then finally I got it just under the wire. But now it seems like I've gotten used to the rhythm of the attack. So the power's gone, by the way. Disappears with the sparkles of the boss. I don't know why they're bound together. So we've got don't touch. I'm going to touch it. That switch isn't terribly important, but it saves you 1 health later on. And I like that it says don't touch. Feels good to touch it. Because it's forbidden. Alright, so here's our second key, which is held by this giant creature's skeleton. Just gotta get used to the timing of the eyeballs. Turn around if one of these red demons comes after you. There's some food over here. It'll give me +4, but I was only down 1 health. Stealing the beast's power after boss death. Yeah, that does happen in Altered Beast. Hadn't thought about that. There haven't been any voice samples yet, though. Welcoming us to our doom or anything like that. No, I should have. Oh. So if you take damage, you might as well just run. Use up that invincibility while you have it. Oh, just time that. That's okay. There's this black slug here. I'll be mindful of that. Alright, this section. This is a bee, and then 7 pink skulls with weird antennae. Or maybe they're wearing glasses, I don't know. Maybe they're just fashionable. That's okay. I've got lots of health here, and I'm about to get a refill. Quick load from the floppy disk. Alright, full strength. Oh, the green jello. Oh, almost. Okay, I almost did that second one without taking damage. Not quite, though. Oh yeah, there are voice samples for... There's this very quakey jump, but it's kind of quiet. Here's a ghost. Alright, so up here is what the switch did. Normally there'd be this, like, weird electric lasso holding this yellow potion in midair, but because I turned the switch off, it's just on the ground, so I can pick it up. So there's my power punch. It's just got this red circle. I don't really know what it does, like, maybe it just does extra damage to the boss. I assume I need it to beat the boss. I've never tried to beat the boss without it. Okay, here's where they test the rocket engines. Which, actually, that's not as absurd a thing for them to need as it seems, because, like, they do have blimps and, like, jetpacks and other technology like that. Okay, here come the ceiling serpents. This ghost that just turns back. You don't want to get a ghost and a serpent right at the same time. Wasn't prepared for it. That's okay, just 1 damage. So here we go, here's the boss. Oop. Okay, let's go. Four damage, 5 damage. Okay, 5 damage isn't too bad for that boss. 4, I think, is the best I've done. It has to be a bug? Can't punch 2 things at once? I don't think it's a bug. There's like places where it's... you have to do strategic things to avoid it. If I recall, Battletoads has the same problem. If you try and punch 2 things in the same spot, you'll only hit one of them. It makes sense. They should either like both take half damage. It's not like you can have a double force punch just because there's 2 people there. Alright. So... okay. I think I'm going to do a little trick here to get extra health. So here there's 6 strength you can collect, but I can go back to the well and everything will regenerate. Though if I did play like the first third of this level really well, I could get back up to 12 because there's another 4 health. But might as well do this. Takes a little time, but makes the run a little bit safer. It's not a huge benefit because once you get to the castle, like you've got to get through the castle in 1 life bar anyway. Or like sections of it. Like the first half of it. You get a full life refill after about half of it. And then you have to do the other half without taking too much damage. Alright. Oh no, I accidentally pressed up. So we gotta go into the well again. And then back out of the well. If I rapidly tap the button, maybe the text will go away sooner. Maybe not. Maybe the load time for the well. So apparently those screens hide a load from disk. And once the load is done, you can actually cancel the screen. But maybe the load time is about as long as the text here. It's becoming uncomfortably warm. Yeah, it doesn't look like I can skip anything here. So I wonder if they like tried to write enough text to cover the load time in all cases. Like that, maybe that was the motivation for writing that stuff in the first place. Alright. So I'm back on this passage to the east. So here I have to deal with the green balls. And if I'm unlucky, one of these things will come up underneath me. Oh, I got hit by one of the green balls. Missed one of them. That's okay. We'll probably get that health back. Here comes this fuzzy guy. And I think now a statue. Containing a living creature. It's kind of odd. Maybe it was like a cocoon kind of situation. As long as I take this section slow, I tend to be okay. there we go. Here comes... Oh, okay. So there's some extra life. This one has nothing in it, which I think is kind of mean. And this one has another +2, but I'm at full health, so... I'll just leave it on the table. Alright. Okay, I miscounted again, but it's fine. Got through there in perfect health. That's all that matters. Got a duck here for the last eyeball. Okay. Well, here it now loads the second set of enemies and a new tune for the second half of the journey to the east. Hi there, little Nemo. How's it going? Here come the dragon bombers. A bomb with the wings on it, so cute. Especially how it spins around. Okay, B. I gotta wait for this one and a hand will come up. There we go. Oh, I missed that B. Okay. Okay, should be, I think 2 more, but yeah. And now this thing. So if you just run headlong into that, the 2 enemies are timed so that they'll come at you at the same time, and that way you'll take damage because you can't punch them both. Alright, so we kneel by the gargoyle statue, 1 more enemy, and here we are at the castle. Before I go in, I have to grab this torch. Hi there, 7 Deadly Streamers, how's it going? We're about to enter the Moist Castle. Into the dank passage. Something about a T-junction. Ah, you made your tacos. Tacos are a good food. Why is the Goodyear blimp in this medieval game? It's the evil wizards that transformed you into the Beast Warrior. They fly around up there. They have a lot of technology. I don't think this is actually a medieval game. This is more like space fantasy. Like heavy metal. That kind of idea. See, okay, I got a duck here. And there we go. Snake. Gotta get ready for that snake and punch it. Oh, that's a nice emote, Grunt Guru. How's it going? Okay, here I take damage from the red slime because I can't fathom of a way to get through it without taking damage there. Here come the... Oh! Aw. Okay, that one was unnecessary. 10 health here, that's really good. Oh, no. 2 damage. 3 damage. Ah. Often I can get through there with 3 damage, which I think is pretty good. But 4 is fine. Alright. Had to pause on the ladder to load there. Oops, I missed the wizard. Okay. So I back up because this red slime comes, and then I try to punch it. There we go. That'd put me up to 13. I'm gonna bypass these for now. This one's a fake. You know, punch it. Okay. So the hard part of this section is in a moment where a pile of 5 pink dudes with knives in their backs just jump out of nowhere. And a leg, for good measure. Okay, I got the wrench. Now, my strategy here, I think, wait till the leg appear, then turn around, hit the X, and then run for it. And I end up taking 1 damage. But only 1. Alright. So here I am at full health. Now the wizard's back. Got it this time. I often miss that one. Even though I always know it's coming. Just often not early enough. Okay. That went well, still at 12. Though actually there's one more health up right here. Just in case. Just in case you took a lot of damage. Wow, I shouldn't have taken that. I should have left it there just in case those axes got me. That's okay. I'm a magical beast warrior. I can punch everything. So I'm wondering if my trouble with these... I always take 1 damage from these spiders. I think I need to wait just a little bit in the middle. I think that's what I haven't been doing. So here we go. Well, whatever. No! Okay, took 2 damage there. That's sad. So there's no more health up in the remainder of this castle. And here comes the grossest enemy I've seen in the game. Right about... oh, not this one. There we go. Where's the third one? It's got no head, just some bloody teeth instead. I go under this one. There we go. 10 health. That's great. That's as best as I've... oh. That's as good as I've had at this point. Alright, here's the gun. Alright. So just run to the right, and some bees will show up. I've been wondering if I can, like, duck the bees, but I haven't really figured out how to do it. Okay, so we use the wrench we picked up to fix this machine that was, I guess, broken and stuck in a on state so that we can turn it off. I don't know. I was annoyed when I got to that the first time, because, like, you can't flick the switch. It looks like a switch. Alright, so pink thing comes from behind, gotta turn around real quick. Oh, okay, those axes are really annoying. Like, they have a wide hitbox. I'm surprised I didn't get hit by that one. What's next? Oh, no, wasn't ready for it. Okay, I made it through there. I took a few more damage than I needed to there. That's okay though, we're almost at the end of this section. So here come some missiles. If you don't have the gun here, you'll take damage from the missiles, at least. And right about here should come the boss of the castle. So just gotta watch out for its flame. There, that's where it stops. Okay. Now I just run up and shoot it. I will take 1 damage. But only 1. That's the boss. And this is a jetpack and a helmet. Because we're going to space. There's some space inside the castle. Or maybe it's not space. Maybe we're going inside like a giant serpent. It's kind of unclear. But it seems to be part of the castle. And for some reason I need a jetpack for it. Like there are bones back there. This part reminds me of Splatterhouse a lot. Okay, it took 1 damage, that's not good. 2 damage. Okay, another damage. Another damage from the stupid rocks. Those always get me. Okay, now I'm almost dead. No! Okay, we gotta start over. Either GeForce 378, or no, it would be GeForce 78. Gotta be consistent about which ones are numbers or letters. Alright, so that's the first attempt. I gotta get better at this space stage? Yeah, the bosses are, I guess, magical things that just dissolve into sparkles when you destroy them. It's weird though, like the first 2 times I got to that stage, I got through it. And then like the next 3 or 4 times, I've died somewhere in the middle of it. Alright, back to the title screen. Beast by Reflections. So yeah, if you read the manual, it tells you about like the wizards flying around in those blimps up there, and that you like look up at them and think about revenge or something. There's a whole story in there. And then it actually does kind of like a short story based on like the starting portion of the game, like going into the tree and going down the stairs and finding the key. Like it describes all of that in detail. It almost seems like a walkthrough, except it's not helpful at all. So here it says welcome. Go left instead of right, because we'll find a key to the left that we need. Alright. So that was my warm-up run. Hopefully this is... Well, I hope every run's going to be the last one, but... Never know. Okay, so there's a couple pixels on the ground. They're going to chomp you if you step on them. And here's the tree that seems to be somebody's home. Yeah, I've referred to it as a novelization a little bit. It's got about 12 pages, I think. Yes, we'll come out of the well. So if you go to the right from the start, there's a well. If you go down the well, there's a locked door. And it won't say anything until you like climb out of the well, and then like the loading text will say like, I bet you wish you had a key or something like that. It's kind of funny. But really, you need a key to unlock the well to get out of the tree area. Just the stairs has a little snake there that likes to breathe fire. I find that kind of weird. It's a good greeting device. But yeah, as soon as you go down to this ladder, like you can't climb back up that. So getting out of here, like you could go up that ladder if you just backed out and went back, but there's really no reason to, because this is the first place you should go. But it takes a while to figure out where you should go in this game. Like there are a lot of options off the bat. You got to explore for a while to try and figure out what route you should take. And if it's not clear yet, this game has to be done on a single life. There are no continues or extra lives or anything like that. You just have 12 health, and it's got to last you. You can replenish it sometimes, like just up ahead. I've actually only lost 1 health so far. Oh, there's the second one. Those drops are hard to avoid, but they're random. Find the door, it opens. Okay, so here's a health up. Gets me back to 12. Try to jump over that last one. There we go. Is there no health up mode? I think there's a cheat code that makes you invincible. It feels slow motion after the Genesis Atomic Runner. Well, I mean, there is a... I think there is a 50 Hz Genesis version, or like the Mega Drive version, you know? Well, I guess it's still Mega Drive in Japan, so the PAL Mega Drive version. But I feel like I should try out the NTSC Genesis one afterwards, just for a laugh, I guess. See how different it is. It looked pretty similar in terms of gameplay, just sped up. So right now it's loading from disk. It's got to load that big boss sprite. There we go. Now our powers are gone. Just got regular punches again, which are still strong enough to kill any enemy in the game except the bosses in a single punch. The gray spikes are random. Sometimes they come in inconvenient spots. Okay. It says don't touch, that's why we like to touch it. I think if you were doing a speed run, you would avoid that switch because you don't really need it. It just saves a health later on. Okay, where's our red demon friend? There we go. The interval for the red demons isn't predictable, it's one of the random things. So here's a key, clutched by this giant monster skeleton thing. Okay. And there's some extra health over here. Big barrel of food. And I guess we keep on going to the right. There's a snail over here. So it's funny, like you need at least one key to get out of this area. And you actually need 2 keys to complete the game. If you don't go up there and find that key, like you'd eventually find out that you need one once you get much farther in the game. Oh. Okay. That's fine, though. We're gonna get a full health refill after the next section. Oops. Yeah, the second key, you can't go back. It actually stops you. It's capped at 12. The second key you have to reset if you get there. I actually did that earlier because I was deliberately skipping this section and not getting the key just because I needed practice on the later section. So I was going straight there. And you can go really, really far without the key, like... I'll just run through that. That's okay. We got a full health right here. As long as I survived that, it was fine. It was getting close, but it was fine. Honestly, it's not much of a setback. I mean, like, you have to replay this game a lot if you're going to play it the way it was. And here's my green reminder that I want to play Marble Madness. Okay. Bee bombers. Nope. I'm trying to figure out if there's a way not to take damage there, but... Oh. But I get hit every time. Sometimes I get through there with 2 damage instead of 3. Not a big deal, though. Like, as long as you can manage enough of the things that this game throws at you to get to the next health up, then you're fine. So this is what I flick the don't touch switch. There would be like some electricity holding that. And you could still grab it though, even if you didn't flick the switch. So you don't actually have to go back for the switch, you just take damage. Alright. Here we have the rocket engines. Oops. Oh. Taking a lot of unnecessary damage. Okay. Ceiling serpents. The ghost that turns back. Alright, here comes the boss. So what I do here is I jump over this spiky contraption. Wait for fire, and then I run in. I actually took quite a bit of damage to that one. So here's the well. So you could have gone to the right and gone down this well, but you wouldn't be able to go further because the door was locked. One of my keys is now gone, as I used it to get out of here. I'm actually going to go back into this well in a moment, because there's a trick to recover your health here, which I want to use. I guess I don't really need to do it, because I've been getting through the castle the first part of the castle really consistent. Maybe I'll skip it. It'll save like a minute or two. But I have to play really well. So what I was planning to do is there's 3 health pickups right here. You can go back to the well. You go into the well and then come back out. These come back. But I'm feeling confident. I'm feeling less confident. I'm gonna go do it. I changed my mind. Hi there, NES Atlas. I don't know. This way I get an extra 6 health. There's 4 more, like, further on before I get to the castle, but it's nice to be closer to 12 when you get there. The first, well, no section of the castle is particularly easy. So I just pressed up and we're climbing back out. I like how the well has this really melancholy tune to it. All right. I don't know, like even the easy attacks, like I miss them some amount of the time. Like there's nothing I do 100% in this game. So just kind of degrees of how reliable it is. Okay, we had good luck with the spikes. Bad luck with that one. Came up right under my feet. Okay. So now the statue with a surprise inside. The bloody claws, or I'm not sure if these are claws or like a tail or something. Ah, I did that poorly. Alright, so here's the other 4. This one's empty because they're mean. There we go. Oh. It's okay. I don't think I've ever gotten to the castle with 12 health. I'm not sure. I might have done it once. I've done 11 a couple of times. They could be horns or mandibles, possibly. And good evening, 8822, Sweet Beyond. We're about a third of the way through Run 2 of Shadow of the Beast for the evening. Okay, here's the bee. Oh, wow. Drastically mistimed that. Alright. One more. There we go. Now we take a knee for the gargoyle. And we've made it to the castle. Grab the light, head on into the moist castle. I didn't even see how much health I had there. Might have been 9? I guess it was 9. Alright, so when you get to the castle, there's like 3 different ways to go right at the start. And they're all like super dangerous. And the first time you get here, you might have like 1 health left because you haven't learned everything there is on the outside and memorized it. So it's like a long process of like getting here and then seeing how far you can get. Kind of remembering what there is. Oops, should have ducked there. It's a little bit late on the duck. There's a snake here. Oh, I forgot to get down off it. Ah, that was poor. This thing I don't know how to get past without taking 1 damage. Sometimes I can get through that with 0 damage, but 6 should be enough here. Oh no, 1 damage, 2 damage, 2 damage. That's a personal best for that section. Oh! Throw it all away on Mud Kid. That is a personal best for that section. I've never... There was a little floppy load on the ladder there. Okay, so I punched this red thing to get it out of the way. Because otherwise it's kind of annoying. Is it coming back? There we go. Hi there, James Headsmith. This game does have a lot of thrills. I will agree. Oh, I got hit by that? Okay. Okay, so the pink guys. Got hit by 1. Oh, and the leg. 2 damage. I think the best I've done is 1 damage through that part. So once I see the leg, I run a little farther. There we go. These guys always get me once. But if I just keep running, it's only once. I left this behind, so I'm back up to 11. Here's a Nivet. Oh, Ghost Wizard. There we go. Ah, I missed the snake. I missed the worm on the table. Alright. And I move forward, get under this frog thing. That's the last health you get in this stage. Oh, I missed that axe. Already down to 11. And this drops you back down. This is the ladder we climbed at the start of the level. Oh, I shouldn't have walked over here. It's loading from disk now. And now I gotta turn around and load from disk again. Alright. Spiders. Still trying to figure out if it's possible not to take damage from that spider, but I always seem to take 1. Okay, so this section went really well last time. These big gross enemies appear like that. go under this one. Let's go. Something was said. That's acceptable. That is what you do in this game. Alright. There's a barrel and an axe. And now we have our gun. Fun fact, you can't jump right here. You can jump, let's see, right here. If I try to jump over here, it like stops my motion. That seems like a bug. I don't know what that's about. It's very inconsequential, but it amuses me nonetheless. Oh, I was wondering if I could duck the bee, but 1 damage to the bees is fine, I think. Is it the pulse rifle? Actually, the sound might be the pulse rifle, yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but I think that is the pulse rifle sound, isn't it? Alright, so pink thing comes from behind. Now I gotta be really careful about these axes, because they have super wide hitbox. See, that one hit me and I didn't think it should. That's what I get for having my own ideas about where the hitboxes are instead of respecting what the game thinks. Alright. 7 health, that's pretty good. Because right here I'm coming up on the boss. Here's a load. Loads the boss graphics on the ladder there. I will see a fireball. Yeah, I gotta wait for it. Just then in where it's gonna stop. And we just run in, do as much damage as we can, and we only take 1 damage. So 6, that's good. Alright, there's my helmet and my gun. Let's see if I can survive this level. I've survived this level twice. I think I've failed it 3 or 4 times now. So we've got our helmet and jetpack. There's not... It's funny it doesn't try to tell a story here. Can I go back out? No, you can't go back once you get to this point. I'm gonna try and go slowly. Ah, there's 1 damage. Whoa, 2 damage. That's a lot to deal with. 4 damage. There's an eyeball. Okay, 1 more eyeball. Oh, that's gonna come back forever. Okay, so I can just snuggle up next to this next time. Okay, here's my first health pickup. Which is good, because I desperately need it. Just wait for this guy to go past. Alright. We're doing good. We're up to 10. That's a good start. Alright. So those don't have health in them. Okay, so there's this weird claw here that comes twice. So there's a pattern I think you can learn here, but I don't know what it is. Ah, I didn't see that coming. Here's some bees from a tube. Okay, the tube's empty. Still wiggling though. Oh, these snake things on the ground, they shoot these fireballs. There we go. I've only gotten through that without taking damage at once. Okay, here's the raspberry field. Alright, I think I should go up here. and then I don't know. I could maybe go to the right and down. Ah, took damage. Should have just run with it once you take damage. Savor the invincibility. Okay. Well, we survived the raspberries. Has the beast seen its shadow? Aww. Okay, I'll read the rest of that in a moment. Oh. Okay, 11. Okay. That's really good then. Okay, here's another one of those fireball or spark traps or whatever this is. Hey, I did it. Okay. Oh no! I always get hit by those. Except once. Once I like outran them. Whoa, that's a lot of enemies. Let's just go. Let's just go. I think this is the boss. 4 more weeks of winter. I don't know if it's a groundhog beast. Okay. Okay. So I can sneak in a few shots at a time. I should be able to do this with no damage. The thing is, like, you can't hit the monster unless you get far enough to the right. Kind of weird that way. It's the same with, like, all of the bosses, though. Unless they're far enough... Unless you can see enough toward their backside, like, you can't hit them. Oh, okay. So that's the top taken care of. Gotta get used to the timing here. There we go. This feels good. There we go. And this is the second locked door. If you don't have the key here, you'll be stuck right here. So, just to show you, if you go to the left after the boss, it's like purple goo has risen behind you. You can't go back. There's no way back. I don't think I can shoot this, right? Yeah. So here we are. Back to the graveyard. This is only the second time I've made it to the graveyard, so I don't know how well it's gonna go. But I have some idea of what's in the graveyard now. Kind of looks like Beetlejuice. I thought it reminded me a lot of Splatterhouse. For playing goo. I guess this game has a lot in common with Splatterhouse, like thematically, especially in the grave area. Okay, or no, so this is the graveyard. Oh yeah, the TurboGrafx one. I think the TurboGrafx one has lives. I'm not sure. There's health here. I missed this last time. Okay. Okay, that's not a health bottle. This power? Energy drain! Well, that was mean. Oh, okay, here I gotta be fast. Because they come in big swarms, and if I stop punching... Oh no, am I gonna get through this? I tried to turn there. See, they come from behind as well. Okay. No more? Are you gonna stop? That one stopped. More health. Okay. Oh, there's a ghost. No health, just a ghost. What's this one? More health. Okay, we got 6. Will it be enough? I couldn't turn around fast enough. I was punching. Okay, what's this? Now this is reminding me of Altered Beast, like a wall. I like that, like, person embedded in the wall. That's cool. Okay, I missed that one. A little bit nervous here. Don't know what's coming. Wow. These should be easy, but... I really don't know what's coming, so... And turning around, that's the slowest one. So I'm just going out a crawl here. Sorry, no smooth parallax, because I... Whoa, what's this? Okay, there's 5 of those. How much more is there? Oh, no! I got bombed. Is there gonna be more bombers? No! Okay, so I learned some stuff about this level. Also, hi Tsunade, how's it going? Whew. Okay, well, in a moment, the third run of the evening will begin. And hello, Ease Out. I'm doing well, Tsunade. I'm wondering how much learning... Like, see, so that stage didn't seem too awful, like, compared to... It's not on the difficulty level of the castle. And I kind of like that. It seems like it's really eased off since the end of the castle level. But I kind of like that structure because I always had the option to ignore the key and just go straight for the castle and practice the castle. So I liked that I could do that. How many hours? I don't know, maybe about 20. I think it's about 20. This is the 5th stream. Most of the streams were about 3 hours. One of them I think was 5. So that might be like 15 hours? I don't know. I'd have to count. Hi there, Kenseiden. And welcome. So we don't go right, we go left. Because we need those keys to get out of the space section. Yep. Missed that bat. It's okay. Won't matter in the long run. These tiny little edges of the mandibles poking out of the ground that you can jump over. Oh, I've got to point out that tree in the background. So there's like one tiny tree that parallaxes in like a mid layer that you don't see anywhere else. Which I only noticed like 2 runs ago. So here we are at the bottom of the stairs. I like how there's like art for stairs, but oop, the stairs don't like me. You can't actually climb stairs. If you touch those stairs, you'll leave this area. And then you'll have to come back in, wait for the load screen. Oop, missed that one. Once again, mistakes like in this first section aren't a big deal. Once you know what to do. There's so much that's like just very relaxed once you have a good idea of what's in the levels and where you need to go and how to get past them. Like, I don't expect to do any part of the game 100%, but I just need to do it well enough that I can get to the next, like, health pickup or whatever. So sometimes I can do this section perfect, sometimes not. It doesn't really matter. All you need is good enough. Nope. I don't think I've ever tried punching those drops before. I wanted to see. There's our key. Yeah, I'd say Shadow of the Beast 2 has a lot more of platforminess to it, from what I remember, but, yeah, like, you're very much kind of stuck to the ground, or a couple feet off the ground where you can jump. But, yeah, you're not really jumping between platforms. I think that's the only place in the game where you jump across a gap. Now that I'm thinking about it. Got distracted by the wiggling fingers. I just thought it was interesting that, like, there's ladders everywhere, and there's an animation for going up the ladders. But they put stairs in one point, and they avoided doing any animation or anything for climbing stairs. Like, they're just not a mechanic in this game. So they're just a visual element. Here's the transport, which takes us a little closer to the boss. Alright. Now it's loading the boss graphics. This is a lot like the Mandara boss in Shinobi, where you really just need to get a good rhythm. Once you know the rhythm of how to fire shots quickly, then not that big a problem. But like the first few times I got to it, it seemed like there wasn't enough time, and then it seemed like there was barely enough time, and now that it seems like there's quite a bit of time, now that I've gotten more facility with it. Alright, we touched the switch it says not to touch. I'm jumping just for fun. More eyeballs. I would say that this game got good mileage out of its eyeballs. I went too fast. Should have waited for it. Those red monsters come at random times, so it's not entirely predictable, but if I go slower, don't get hit. All right. There's a barrel of food over here. I think that bottle said eat on it. Didn't look too closely at it. Here's the swift snail. Hi there, Itsy Nibbles. I've actually only seen one person play Shadow of the Beast on stream. I've been liking it. Oh. Okay, 7 health here. That's not awful. Could be doing better, but it's not bad. Oh, black slug. Can't attack the slug. It is too low to the ground. Punch the pink skulls wearing goggles. There we go. Back to full health. Psygnosis Spears. Hello! Hello, Bubble Rhapsody. Hello. Os Radio. How are you doing, everybody, from Mommy's stream? Trying to remember what's here. Oh, these things. I always get hit by these. I actually managed not to take damage there. That's a first. Hang on, I accidentally... I need my mouse back. My chat got paused because the game... the thing. Okay. Hi there, Mommy from Hyrule. How's it going? Did you finish Ninja Gaiden? And hi, Video Game Bar Space Station. I think I'd like to play at a video game bar on a space station. That sounds like a fun thing to have. And thank you for the raid. This is my third attempt for the evening at Shadow of the Beast. It's been a very, very slow learning process, because this game only has one life. So every time you die, you restart from the beginning. And at this point, I can get far enough that it's about a half-hour game, I guess. Oh, there actually is a video game bar named Space Station. Well, that also sounds like a good idea. Oh. Got hit by one of the test engines. Seem to be quite clean burning. I don't see any smog down here. True Sarong? I'd say, I think once you learn it, a lot of the individual things aren't that hard, but the amount of time it takes to work out what to do does make it hard in that way. You gotta be okay with replaying it a lot of times. Hi there, Vigray Tech. How's it going? You've never seen Shadow of the Beast? Oh. Oh. So let's see, it took 1 damage, 2 damage, 3 damage, 4 damage, 5 damage. Or was it 4? Was that 9 or 10? I don't know. That's still pretty good. Hi there, Tosides. Don't know quite what it says after Rei Dokara. Something Mashita. I'm not too good with kanji. Kimashita? And Kitsunekas, hello. So that's the first section of the game. You go down here to get, well, you get 2 keys, but then climbing out of the well, you have to unlock a door to the bottom of the well, and that's how you get out of this first section. There's a little fly down here. All right. So if I'd gone right from the start, I would have seen this right here. So like this is where you start, like right about right here. So I went left, but if you go right, if you get to this well, if you climb down the well, it says Yi right there. It turns you back because you don't have a key. And I'm only at 4 health. How am I feeling about this? So if I really want to get back up to 12, I could go back to the well now and get my health back, but I'm just going to keep going. 10's good enough. Oh, that was bad luck. Max health is 12. Yep, only 1 life, and then you start over. Hi there, Sinistubborn. How's it going? Here we punch a statue, and then that comes out. And now there's... I've been calling it a claw. It doesn't really seem that claw-like. It seems like a tail, like a spiked tail. Alright. There's nothing in this one, just to tease you. So 11 health, that's pretty good. I mean, I could only be 1 better at this point. Oh, if I take damage, I might as well just run there. Here's the field of eyeballs. There will be many more eyeballs in this game. Alright. And it does a little load here. All your problems are solved with a fist. Yeah, you do seem to... Everything dies in 1 hit from your fist. You just have to time them right. The platformer Mortal Kombat. Oh yeah, like Sub-Zero... whatever it was called. Sub-Zero Quest or Chronicles or... Oh, and hi there, Eggboy Color. Just catching up. Might have missed some chat. Ooh. That's interesting. Okay. My scroll wheel was sort of working, but then it stopped. The game keeps capturing it. What's my favorite monster? I'm not sure. There's one monster I think is the grossest. Mortal Kombat Mythologies. Ah, that's what it was. if we attack to the left, let's see, left is a left punch, right is a right punch. So, no, that's the same animation. And I think it reuses the top half for both of them. Anyway, we continue. So there's a new set of enemies now, after that little floppy disk load. The game manual... Oh, took a hit. The game manual has like a section at the end where the programmers talk about the technical accomplishments they're proud of for this game. And they mention there's like 13 layers of scrolling in the exterior level. Don't usually take damage from that. That's okay. This one's a little tricky right here. You gotta hit them both at once. So the jump kick is your other attack. You can also do it while moving forward. That was a mistake. I let them both come out at the same time. You can only punch one at a time. Got a duck here. I wonder if I can hit this statue. I don't think so. I tried. Or I wasn't sure if I'd tried before. Or like this thing right here. Like, it looks like there's a front door. Anyway, before I go into the castle, I have to grab this torch here, because I need some light. There's a wall there. That's the right edge of the world. Well, I wouldn't have put a change past it. I hadn't really thought about it until you mentioned it. Alright, so 6 health coming in here is not too bad. If I do well, I can make that all back. I think in my first run I had 11. I forget what I had in the second run. I think I had 9 in the second run. So it almost seems like I'm doing worse, but I think it'll all work out. So like the first time I get here, like every single one of these things does damage to me. And then once I learn them, I learn what's coming when. You know, I just get used to the timing. I learn how to avoid everything. Here's the snake. Just barely got that. This red slime just always does damage, as far as I can tell. This section gets really tricky in a moment. Oh. I usually miss one of these 3 leaping jaws. Okay, so that gives me 2 extra strength. This section is really tricky. 1 damage. 2 damage. Oh, 3 damage. 3 damage is good. Usually I take 3 or 4. The best I ever did was 2. Oh, I was worried it was a little bit too high. The red slime is the castle tax. Yeah, so like the first time you get to this castle, there's 3 ways to go, and you don't know which you need to go to first. And every way will kill you, because there's so much you need to learn about everything. So I'm going to skip this chest. I'll save it for coming back. Here's a fake chest. Little creature inside. They thought they'd trick me. Oh, sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't. Okay, so I run until the leg reappears, and then I scroll it off, and then I turn around, hit this X, and then I just run straight. Because that way I only take 1 damage. and that's pretty good. So back up to 10. So here comes the ghost wizard again. And a snake. And a worm on the table. Oh, I punched too early. Got me. And a snake, and one more snake. Oh, got me. As long as I avoid the next two enemies, I can get my full health still, though. There we go. So that's what I mean. Like, I came here with 6, and I've been here with 11, but the result is the same. So long as you play well between the points where you get health. There's no more health in this castle, though. So this is the second way you can go. So the first way I went was up that ladder. I shouldn't go too far there because it'll load, but this is the second way to the left. And to the right is the third way. It goes straight to the boss. So you don't want to go that way. Oh. I'm still wondering if it's possible to get past the spiders without taking damage. It might be. It seemed like it was just barely possible, but I only kind of half did it once. I still took damage, but I think not from the spiders. Can I jump between the two spiders? Like standing in there? I'm not sure I've tried. So these are the grossest enemies. They have no head, they just have a pile of bloody teeth. Oh. Okay, that was not how I wanted to do that, but 8 is acceptable here. I think last run I had 10. Well, last run I also took like a damage from this axe or something, so... I don't know, kind of a wash. Now I have a gun. Let's see if I can duck these bees. Oh, no. Just keep running. So this is what I needed the wrench for. When I got here the first time, I couldn't flick that switch and I was annoyed. So I might try jumping between the spiders at one point. If I don't finish the game this time. So this section to the right is really tough. Oh. Those axes really stick out. Far beyond where they seem to. And it takes a long time to turn around. So you gotta be ready to move. That went really well. Usually I take a couple of hits there, like maybe 3. Just duck these and you're fine. Alright, here comes the boss. Yeah, we came to the conclusion that like anything that's diagonal in this game has a really big hitbox. Oh, the statue with the monster that looks just like the statue inside? Alright, here we go. So we take 1 damage from this boss, but that's all. And here's our jetpack and helmet. I don't know why I don't get to keep the gun when I leave this level. Maybe there's graveyard rules. Maybe it's disrespectful to fire a gun and ride a jetpack in the graveyard. I don't know. Okay, 1 damage. 2 damage. Oh, if I had moved up a little bit, I could have saved that one. Oh, these rocks always get me. Was that 2 damage? I'm not doing well here. Okay. So there's 1 more eyeball I need to worry about. There we go. Okay, I made it to the first health. Just let this thing go past. Here we go. Here we go. Okay. 9 health. Now I'm feeling a bit better about this. Hi there, Shin Chin Meng. How's it going? Okay. We got the lightning. We let this claw go twice. And then we just kind of haphazardly run for it. Okay. Okay, that's the B2. There we go. Another eyeball. Oh, I got through it. Okay, nice. I think I'm about to get more health. Oh wait, it's the raspberry field. No. Okay, I still haven't figured out a safe way through this area. I think I could go right and then down, or maybe to like diagonally down. Aha! Okay. Maybe I could go up and then up and then right. There we go. Okay. Wow. Did I just do that field without taking damage? I think that's a first. I hate that one. Unless I'm on the ground, I can't avoid it. Oh. Well, that's disappointing. Alright. Back to 12. All is forgiven. Okay, more sparks. Oh. What was that? Oh, I got zapped. Oh, these things. Okay, well. Made it to the boss with 8. Or no, with 7. My last time was with 8. That's what I was thinking. Okay, that's where it stops. There we go. So I've been pretty successful at fighting this boss without taking damage. Just need to repeat the same technique over and over again. Oh, okay, so I've got the top part now. There we go. All right. Okay, back to the graveyard. I'm only 1 health down from where I was. However, I now know that the second pickup hurts you instead of heals you, so I can skip that. Can you get here without the key? Yes. The first time I beat this level, I got here without the key. I knew about the key, but I was intentionally like seeing how I needed practice on the castle level, because the castle level is way harder than what was before, and I didn't want to get the key every time and then die in the castle. Like, there's just no point. So I just went straight to the castle to practice it a bunch of times. So the first time I beat this boss, I got to see the door won't open or whatever it says. All right. So I got much further in this one this time, or last time. Okay, so this second one I want to skip. Took damage anyway. Oh. This is such a weird gauntlet. Alright. Gotta be more responsive. Okay. Ghost. I think this is it. I think that's the last health pickup I'll get. At least until I get to new territory. Oh. Poof. Okay. I guess I'm about to die again. Oh, these things. Okay, I think if I stood still, I would have been fine. Okay. So I think I'm now officially further. Oh, what's this? Oh. Whew. Okay, well that's further. That's attempt 3, I think. Got to see some teeth. Some big ground teeth. 2 enemies further. Yeah, I felt there were a bunch of moments there where I could have done it. I just don't have a good mental map of like when the enemies are coming. So it's hard to be prepared for like, are they going to come from behind? Or are they going to come from in front? You got to respond fast. It is a lot like Punch-Out. I think this game is more forgiving than Punch-Out in terms of timing, though. At least like the later enemies of Punch-Out. Actually, it's definitely more forgiving because playing this on an emulator, like I have more lag and stuff. I guess this would be easier if I had a real Amiga with a CRT or whatever. Punch-Out has more checkpoints. Okay, that's true. That is a very fair counterpoint. All right. So yeah, like once I'd cleared the space area and seen the locked door, like once you can get there, then I start doing the whole thing. And that I did for the first time last night. So now I've seen the graveyard 3 times. All right, welcome. So over here, it really wants you to go in, but you don't need to. Or you shouldn't. You can't go anywhere in there. You just climb down the ladder. It's interesting that it's a well, but it's like a dry well. Like it looks like it should be used for water, but inside it's just dry and there's a ladder and a door and a drain. Like that door is like a grate. So it should just flow out into the thing. I don't know. Maybe it was once for water, and then they repurposed it when they built the wizard's hideout under the tree. Landstalker. Yeah, I did play Landstalker. That one was pretty good. I found Landstalker... It was often like just on the edge of like how big a maze I could hold in my head at a time. Like I found by the time I was finished with some of the later areas, like I was straining to remember what was where, but it still stayed just close enough that I could still manage. So it felt good. But it felt like if that game was just a little bit harder, it would have been a much rougher experience for me. Also, my my D-pad broke in the middle of playing it. I got frustrated about not being able to make jumps, and then I realized my D-pad was broken. And I mean, if I did get too tired playing it, like I could just look at a map. Like people have made good maps of that game, so it's not like there isn't a solution for that, but I usually like to just play things. I make maps sometimes. I make maps if I think a game needs one, but I am the kind of person who enjoys making a map for a video game. Alright. What controller did I use? Oh, I was emulating for that, so I was just using like a Logitech F310. That's what I usually use. That snake came out awfully late. I do have a Genesis. I don't think I've streamed anything from it yet. I'm trying to think if I have. I don't think I have. I should pick a game for that. For the purpose of inaugurating the Sega Genesis on stream. X input versus direct input. This one actually has a switch on the back, like you can switch between X input or direct input if you want. I think I always just have it on X input, but the wiggly hands. But I own actually 3 of these. So I did wear out the D-pad on one, but I had it for like 6 years, and I used it a lot before it wore out. And I really like these. I think these are pretty good. The thing I really like about these is they have a button here that swaps the analog stick and the D-pad. So if there's a game that only lets you move on the analog stick, but I'd rather play with the D-pad, or vice versa, I can do that. I think that's really my favorite thing about the controller. I wouldn't say it's my favorite D-pad or anything, but it's comfortable, and it works. Except for that one time when I broke one with my Landstalker. Alright, so our powers are gone. They dissolve with the boss. We're into the second half. I guess we're no longer inside the tree, we're now just in the ground. There's the don't touch. For Genesis games that I've played, I don't remember like the 6 button ever mattering except for fighting games specifically. At least I can't think of any games where it came up. Uh-oh. Oh! I managed to turn around twice. Okay. Contra Hardcore uses the 6 button pad? Oh, okay. Maybe Castlevania Bloodlines would be a good one to start to test the Genesis on stream. That's been one I've been meaning to play. Alright. Hi there, Gromfaloon. Oh, I missed when you said hello earlier. Yeah, the original Genesis controller is some pretty big buttons. I recently bought one of those blue 6-button Genesis control. So when I bought a used Genesis a little while ago, it came with a controller. What am I doing? It came with a 3-button controller that was pretty beat up. So I bought a new 6-button. I was surprised to find that they were making, like, there's a company that just makes official new ones. And they had an option to get a blue one, so I got a blue one. Is it Retrobit? Yeah, it was probably Retrobit. Oh. Trying to read chat and forgetting about the black slug. That's okay. All I have to do is get through this section and I've got full health again. The goggles won't protect the skulls. Oh. All right. Yeah, I tried playing Street Fighter 2 on the 3-button controller, and it just feels... it's kind of absurd. It was fine on the Super NES controller, I thought. Okay, so if I just stop... Nope. Okay, oh. Somehow last time I got through that without taking damage. Extra fireball, that was weird. Didn't matter because I was already taking damage. I don't know anything about Retrobit's SNES controllers, I haven't. So I couldn't comment. The 6-button Genesis one seems pretty nice. Though I haven't played with it a lot yet. So this is what we threw the switch for. It drops this. Otherwise, we'd just take 1 damage. If I wanted to get through this a little faster, I would just not touch the don't touch switch. Oh, there's a ghost. Like, I have a couple of Super NES gamepads, and they still work pretty well. So I've never tried. I did try some clones a while ago. I don't know if they were by Retrobit. They were by Retro something. If those were the clones you're talking about, then I'd say they were rather poor quality. But they worked. But that was years ago, so I don't know if Retrobit's making something else. And it also might not have been Retrobit. It was Retro something. I'd have to go and check. Alright, here's the boss. One damage. 2 damage. I got through the boss with only 2 damage. Okay. I think the secret there is if I run in at the right time, and then I stop. If you run all the way into that monster, the spike on its nose will hurt you. So yeah, for Super NES I've just been using regular Super NES controllers. I've actually had a Super NES to USB adapter for a really long time, and they were just kind of my favorite controllers to play anything with. So I used to use them a lot before I got this. This I thought was pretty good, so it's become my main thing, yeah, like they've held up well. Like they still seem, I haven't been having problems with them, and I've had them for years and years. Like actually, like when I originally sold my SNES, I kept the controllers. Or did I? No, I would have sold the controllers with them, but I bought new controllers, even though I didn't have an SNES anymore. Okay, green guy, sneak in, there we go. So the safest way to deal with that guy is to wait for him to jump out, and then sneak in quick and punch him. Okay, so this time I had 12 or 6 health to start with, and I got back up to 12. So no need to go back to the well to respawn these health pickups. That was a really nice round. Just gotta watch the ground for a spike in the wrong spot. Oh, no. Wasn't fast enough. Here's the statue. Can I jump kick the statue? Oh yeah, I can. I don't know if I'd want to. That statue is one of few things that takes more than one hit. And I like that these little black insects are like a small version of the green ones that were in the tree. I almost wonder if they're the same graphics, procedurally scaled down. Okay, so this is health. This is nothing. I'm gonna take this health. I was waiting just in case the bat hit me. Oh, I should have just gone when I took damage. That's okay. Down to 10. Last time I hit I had 6, right? And I got through that and still got back up to full health. Yeah, I really like that really great clones have begun to appear. Especially the Mister. But for my purposes, I own old hardware to develop software for them. That's my purpose. And clones aren't suitable for that. So I need to keep the real thing around. Going quite well. There's the jump kick. One more. Tap a few times. Now go. The B. The knee. And here's the castle. Eye clones? I was saying that there's really good clones for at least 16-bit consoles now. Like the Mister or the Analog series. Or like the Retro AVS for NES. Do I keep various models? I have a Famicom and I have an NES. I have to learn about... It depends on what kind of development I'm doing for what. Sometimes you might want to have multiple of them. For me, I know the territory of NES pretty well, but I had 2 NESs and I have a Famicom, so yes, but also one would probably be enough at this point. I don't know, it depends on the system. How many I'd feel, like how many different hardware configurations I feel I need to test. Like that's highly dependent on what I'm working on, but I need at least one. And usually I can leverage testing from like other people who have other models or something if I need to do that. Oh, wasn't quick enough on the duck. I hadn't thought of it quite early enough. Yeah, like if I wasn't using them for development, if I just wanted to play games on them, I love what the Mister does. And I kind of want one anyway, but I don't know. Every time I think about getting one, I think about other things I could buy. Okay, there's first damage. Second damage. Third damage. 4 damage through there. Slightly subpar, but we're okay. We've got 6 now. All right. So after the 5th one comes the leg. I always take a hit from the leg. And I just run. I always take 1 damage. The X goes through me. Oh, I forgot about the last axe. But that's okay. I'm back at full health anyway. The table worm. I don't know, I still consider it emulation. It's a matter of definition. I usually use the word clone because it's less contentious. It is definitely a clone. Oh, I took damage. It's okay. But I feel it's valid to call it emulation. I mean, you can call it simulation if you want. An emulator is a simulation as well. I don't know. But some people don't like the term emulation for... Maybe. I might be able to get through there without damage. But I don't know. Whatever term you want to use for it is okay by me, as long as it's clear what we're talking about. Like, there is definitely a distinction to be made between an FPGA clone and an emulator that runs on a PC. There are a lot of relevant things to talk about that are different between them. Okay, that's not going so well. I can't duck and punch the snake. Which snake? There's a bunch of snakes. But, I mean, if you want a hardware clone, like the big difference between like analog stuff or the Retro AVS and the Mister is just being able to play cartridges. If you want to use your old cartridges, that's the one thing the Mister is not currently good for, as far as I know. Oh no, I might not get through this. This section's really tough. Well, nothing's one-to-one. Everything's based on the knowledge we have, and the knowledge we have is available for the most part. People do it pretty openly. So everything we know that could be used to make like an FPGA Super Nintendo or an FPGA NES clone, you can also use to make a really accurate emulator. I haven't actually seen anything to convince me that it's better than the best emulators, like any FPGA clone. But it is really nice to be able to interface with the hardware, which you can't do with a PC emulator generally. And it is really nice to have like very low latency output, which is much harder to do on a PC. Okay, I'm dead. I didn't get through the castle well enough. I think I'm getting better at the space stage, but I'm not good enough to no damage the first section. Does the Mister have PC98 as well? I didn't realize. I knew it had an X68K. I didn't know that it could do PC98, but that's kind of cool. Like, I really am on the edge of maybe getting a Mister, but there's always something else that I'd rather have whenever I look at it. I knew it had like an IBM PC kind of thing. I don't know if it's like a 386 or a 486 equivalent. I don't think I've played any PC PC98 games on stream. I did play through Xanadu on MSX. I tried the PC88 version for a while. I tried a bunch of versions. I did try the PC98 version as well. I liked the MSX one the best. The gyroscore got updated. But I don't think I've actually streamed anything from PC88 or PC98 at this point. Maybe I will at some point. If I add to my retro hardware collection, MSX is like the highest on the list, I think, currently. I don't really want to add to the collection. I have too much old hardware I've got to deal with, maintain. Oh. The first green insect is good at stopping short and then waiting and just outside of the range of your punch, so you have to walk into it and take damage if you don't get it just right the first time. But the ones after just seem to come forward. Well, yeah, there weren't a lot of people selling RPGs back then in the West. There were some. Like, I think Sierra brought over, like, Zeliard and Sorcerian, if I recall. First Ys game. I hadn't ever heard of the Super NES EVO being a simplified version of that. I thought it was... Or wait, is there... Like, there's another version of EVO? Like, I know there was the prequel to it, but I'm not sure if you're talking about that or not. I thought that was only on Super Famicom. So I didn't even know about that. I should actually look into that. That might be an interesting game to play. Like, I only knew about, what's it called? The 4 billion year story. But if there's also a version of EVO which is more interesting, that I'd like to look at that. Spike came down. Alright. Through the eye field. Okay, I wanted to look at this. So it says food here. No, I guess it doesn't say eat. I was staring at the bottle. Okay, so I need to do a good job in the next section. There's still one more full health refill before the boss, but... Two damage. Three damage. I was doing so well in the first part of that. I should be okay though. I usually take about 3 damage going through the next section. Spotted that slug just in time. I think if I just walk to the right here, I would take 2 damage, actually. Alright, I made it. It's not the only enemy that's unique. There are a bunch, but that is a unique enemy. There's two of these, but one of them jumps and the other doesn't. So it's like they have different personalities. But like there's the snake, there's the table worm. Oh no. Okay, well that's alright. When are you making my first Amiga game? I don't know. I don't have any plans to. If I made something for Atari ST, it might be worth porting to Amiga. But I really don't want to buy and own an Amiga at this point in my life. Maybe eventually. Be okay with it. Okay, here's the ceiling serpents. Isn't there one from the ceiling still? What's going on? Do you see that way on the right there? I feel it's supposed to be right in front of me, but it's moved somehow. What the? Oh, maybe I just misread the... I don't know. This is fine. Okay. Here's the boss. Okay, so get up close to the boss, but not... One damage. 2 damage. Only 2 damage. Okay, so I'm better at that boss now. That's good. Not that I need that for progression, because I can get full health here by going back to the thing. Yeah, some weird sounds happen at some times, usually right before bosses or during boss fights. I don't know if that's a bug in the sound engine of the game, or in FSUAE's emulation. Could be either. Alright. So that's another unique enemy. And it actually sparkles. Alright, back to 12. That went pretty well. Only 1 damage. Here's the statue. By the time I made Lizard, I had a really good idea of what emulators don't get right about hardware. So I wouldn't say that there were any surprises with Lizard, but I did test Lizard on hardware. Because I consider that essential. But at this point, like, I know NES really well. So, like, the amount of hardware testing that I really need to do is a lot lower than it was when I was, like, learning the platform. And that's the main thing. Like, I don't feel I can learn a platform without having the hands-on stuff. Like at this point, I could probably make an NES game, no problem. I mean, I've gone through, like Always Awakening, there also weren't any hardware surprises for me, but at the same time, I wouldn't give it an approval without an actual hardware test. Like, it does need that. But I don't know. Like, when I first started programming on the NES, there were a bunch of things I had to learn. Like, there were a lot of surprises. And I'd say that's been true about every platform I've approached. Ah, didn't turn around fast enough. Here comes the bee. Oh. Got the timing on that. I got hit twice. I have not touched 7800. Had the most hilarious television ad. I wonder what that would be. I had an Atari 2600 when I was a kid. And it was kind of a disappointing console. Like, NES was already out when I got it. And I'd grown up with an Atari ST. So, like, everything on it was really primitive compared to what I was used to on the ST. And then I got Mario Bros. For it. And I was expecting the NES game, and it was not that at all. It was a port of the arcade game, which wasn't... It was a pretty good port of that for the 2600. Oh, I touched the snake. Yeah, so I got... It was a 2600 Junior, like, in the late days. Oh, this is going poorly. I don't know if I'm going to make it through this section here. I'm probably not going to. Definitely not going to now. Random ceiling drip. There we go. Get what I deserve there. I think I've got one more attempt in me. I have to take a quick break. Yeah, well, I had the Atari ST. Like, we got that in 1986, I think. Or maybe 1987. And they got me a 2600. I think because it was the cheap one. They knew I wanted, like, an NES. And They knew I knew the Atari name because we had an ST, so like Atari 2600 seemed like it would be good, but I don't know. The games for it were kind of disappointing. I still played them. I still enjoyed them, but they weren't what I was hoping they were. And so like, I think like a year later, I ended up getting a Master System. And that was also like the cheap one at the time, because it wasn't doing so well in the market. That one had a lot of really cool arcade ports. MIDI stuff and Cyberpaint. I don't think I've ever seen Cyberpaint. They were really good for MIDI. I never did MIDI on my Atari ST. I have an Atari ST again now, though. Maybe I could finally do something with MIDI. Except I don't think I have any MIDI devices anymore. I've switched to all, like, you know, virtual sound devices at this point. So I don't really have much of a use for MIDI anymore. I do have MIDI cables. I'm trying to think if I have any MIDI devices. I think I do, but I have to go digging. Anyhow, I'll be back in just a moment. Ubiquitous desert chrome? Oh, and the reflections? I guess so. Alright, I have a beer. My liquids have been exchanged. I'm ready to play Beast by Reflections one more time tonight. The funny thing with Atari ST, like, I really wanted to do MIDI stuff with it when I was a kid. Like, I was very strongly into music. Like later, I have a university degree in music, but I didn't have any MIDI devices, but I had some MIDI programs for the Atari ST. So I tried like writing music on them and just like imagining what it would sound like, because I didn't have anything to plug in. Which is maybe a weird thing to do. That also reminds me, so we got like there was an Atari ST magazine, I think it was called ST Explorer. And so I'd see ads for like the new Atari stuff that was happening in the late 80s. And I remember there was the little Atari kind of tiny handheld computer. Was it called the Stacy? Or something? There was one used in Terminator 2. Used one to like mess with a bank machine or something. But there was like a little ad for that. There was like a full-size fold-out piece of paper that looked like one of those. Or wait, no, it wasn't called Stacy. It was Atari Portfolio. Stacy was something else. I think Stacy was like the Atari ST laptop or something, but the Atari Portfolio, that's what I'm thinking of. But I remember like So I got that ad as a kid, and I would just play with it like a toy. Like I would press on its keys and stuff. Imagine what it would be like to have it. It's not like it would have run any games or anything. Like, I don't know what I would have done with it. Like, seeing what it could actually do, it was mostly like a text. You know, if I had to do... Maybe if I did, like, writing or something at that time, it would have been useful for that. Yeah, the portfolio. Oh, there's a Terminator 2 picture. I just really wanted that thing. I remember there was a movie that came out in theaters called The Bear. And it was a movie starring a bear. And I can't remember what that movie was about, and partly because I was distracted by this magazine ad of a portfolio I was playing with through most of the movie. Yeah. I can't remember what its actual specs were, but it wasn't going to be a portable Atari ST, which is like what I kind of dreamed it would be. How's the quest for revenge going? I think this is my 6th run of the evening. It's going to be my last one, I think. But I've gotten fairly far into the graveyard. I got to the graveyard twice tonight. The second time I got to the teeth, the big teeth in the ground. If you know this game. I guess that would tell you how far I am from the end, but I had a feeling I was really close to the end of the game. Okay, I'm doing a bad job of it this time. Oh. I'm a little tempted to go through the footage later. Like if I don't get through it on this next one... Oh, I guess I should go down underneath first. I'm a little tempted to just like review the footage and make myself an actual map of the graveyard. Just to help so I can study it and help myself get through it. Yeah, the gameplay in that respect reminds me a lot of, like, the arcade Ninja Gaiden, or, like, where it was all just about waiting for the enemy to come right in that narrow range where you can hit them, but they won't hit you yet. Ah. I should probably learn those sections where, like, I always have extra health and I can just run through, but... I don't know. I feel like intentionally running through things that I know I could do damageless is against the spirit of playing the game. Like, I have fun trying to avoid everything. The speedrun approach might take some of the joy out of it. At least at this point. No, I gotta go to the right. It's snail time. Oh, this room. Like here, it would really satisfy me to get through here with 0 damage, you know? Oh. Jumped into another flame. Alright. Here's the company logo. Making a celebrity appearance. Oh, I thought I'd get through that. Am I playing on D-pad? Yeah. I could use like an arcade stick. Oh, missed that. See here, I might as well just run to the right. Because I know for a fact, like, I won't need this health. And I'm failing at every one of these. But maybe I also need the practice at just, like, keeping the reactions up and stuff. I just realized I hadn't taken a sip of the beer yet. It's quite refreshing. Up to jump on D-pad I don't find too bad, actually. I think when I played Bubble Bobble on the Atari ST, I used an arcade stick just because that's closer to how I would have played it as a kid, but I don't know, up to jump, I don't find it too bad. Like, I do occasionally have errors with up or down. I'm not sure that the, like, Atari stick was really that much of an improvement in terms of, like, whether I could reliably press the up or down input on it, but it would be more that I would kind of like to do it just for the feel of it. Well, like I said, I haven't been jumping up unintentionally. I've ducked unintentionally a few times. Not today, actually. I can't think of any time where it happened today. But, like, the amount of times it's happened during this playthrough has been, like, probably like 5 times. So, I don't know. It's not really a big deal. But if I felt I was having input problems, I'd switch controllers. That's a nice thing about playing on emulators. If you have, hang on, 1, 2, 2 damage. Okay, so I've gotten better at that boss. Hi there, Pixel Crash Gaming. Like, I do have a lot of options for input devices if I wanted. Like, I could map up to a button. I could use a different device. I could use, like, I have a couple of different joysticks. I don't know. There's lots of options, but the D-pad feels fine. I haven't felt it was a problem with this. What's the furthest I've gotten? I've gotten fairly far into the graveyard. I don't know how far exactly, because I don't know how long the graveyard is yet, because I haven't beaten the game. But I got to these teeth. There's a big row of teeth in the ground. Almost got it. Okay. Here's the fuzzy guy. Is there only one of those? There might be 2. Where is it? It's gonna come up here? I have to jump across a gap once in the game. Only once. And the consequences of falling in that pit are very minor. Ooh. Alright. There's the empty one. Made it to full health without doing the special trick. Oh, there's another one there. Right, there's 2 right here. Alright. Time to load from disk. Take a sip of the beer. Guess it has 1 platforming. Here comes the bomb. Here's the B. Wait for the hand. Now go. Alright. Finally got through there without error again. That feels good. One more. And the last one. Alright. Kneeling for the gargoyle. And there we go. Ah. So I've ended once in the castle. I've ended twice in the graveyard. And then I think twice in the space section. The flying section. Alright, once again we go left. Always go left first. Well, actually, no, I could have gone more left here, but I went left and up this time. It's amazing to me, like, this, like, electric plate attack. When I first got here, like, I found it really hard to dodge. But I haven't been hit by it in a while. I've been hit by those skulls more. Oh, the stupid snake! Alright. Force damage from red slime. See, that's a unique red slime. I still haven't figured the exact places to stand here. Okay, so that's real good. 9 right here. One damage. Oh, 2 damage. Oh, 3 damage. Well, that's still good. I got through there with 2 damage once. I was very impressed with myself. That flying mud kid, that's a unique enemy. This wizard here... There's only one of those, as far as I know. Oh, this thing! Ah, I forgot about it. Now it's a nuisance. Why? It's still following me. Yeah, that was annoying. Okay. Moving on. Yeah, I seem to usually take 2 damage from there, and then the way back I seem to have a pretty consistent 1 damage. So I just run, this axe goes through me, and I turn around for this axe, and there we go. Alright. Table worm. That's another unique one. I don't need this one. The punch sounds satisfying, yeah. I'd agree. Okay. So, I think we learned last time that we can stop in the mid- oh, it doesn't matter. So take damage, gotta go. Ah, 2 damage. Could have gotten by with 1. Ah. Forgot. Well, 7's pretty decent here. So the problem with the graveyard is that, like, there's just no chance to practice it. It's at the end of a half-hour run. It is significantly easier than the other run across the field, but I just don't know when things are coming. Like, I just haven't had much chance to memorize any of it. Oh, there's a load. Alright, pink thing from the back. Wait out the axe, move. Miss the pink thing. Okay. So, barring an accident, I'll have 4 health going into the space level, which I have been able to survive a couple times with 4 health. I'm gonna take an extra damage. Alright. Well, here we go. So when you open this door, instead of a level transition with text, it leaves you in place and fades out the background, which is really interesting to me. Like, it never does that kind of transition anywhere else. The main thing is, like, you get big waves of things here, and... okay. Like this. Like, all of these are really unreasonable. Okay, eyeball? Okay, I know where I am now. I have a chance to get to the health here. There's going to be an eyeball coming along the ground. So I need to run and stand underneath this thing and shoot the eyeball. Made it? That was a weird flicker. Okay, 8 health. Doing okay now. That was really touchy. Okay. Here comes the claws. I wait for the claw to go twice. Oh, just go. It's hard to see that one coming. There's really no indication. Here's the bees. Set the bees. Okay. Time for the sparks. I made it. Oh, it's the raspberry field. I think I actually made it through here without damage last time. So I think I went diagonal and down this last time. Yep. And now I don't remember. Probably went forward and diagonal up. Ah, took 1 damage. That's still good. That's really good for the raspberry field. Okay, is this another health, please? Yes. Okay. So how well I do in this last part of this stage will help me a lot in the graveyard. Ooh, I made it through. Okay. Now, there's a couple of waves of things. Yeah, like these rocks. Yeah, there's going to be a wave of enemies here. I think I should go high up so that I can maybe fight them off when I move forward. Ah, there they are. I think there's going to be another one. Oh, maybe not. Okay. 9. 9's good. 9's very good. This is always like super tense, even though it's really reliable. Oh, I've already gotten the top. Like, once I worked out this pattern, it hasn't failed me yet at all. I've never taken damage on this boss, except the first time I fought it. 9! Yes! And I'll get a +2 right off the bat, so... I'm almost optimal. If I had 10, I could get up to 12, but this way I can get up to 11. If I don't take damage at the start. Hello there, Kiwi Bird. How's it going? Thank you very much for the raid. What were you up to? All right. See, now I'm nervous because it's the end of a long run here. And I don't know very well what's coming at this point. Okay, so here's my +2. That one I skip. That one contains a cross. Actually, I can punch it now. See, it's a cross. That will drain 2 health. So apparently, there's something unholy about what I am. Why did that count as damage? It's so hard to turn around. Oof. Yeah, okay. Disappointed by that, but... 9. This will be a ghost. 11. That's good. OG XCOM with the final mod on. Oh, I've not heard the final mod. I have played the original XCOM. I really love that game. Okay. I just never know when something's coming from behind or in front. And behind it takes longer to turn around. And the enemies come at different speeds. Okay, these things, there's 5 of them. 3, 4. Oh, one got away. No, there's more. No! Okay, I'm getting nervous. Making mistakes. Oh, I thought I could stay put and survive that. Okay, I was wrong. Okay. Teeth are coming very soon. There they are. This is where I got to last time. I died in here, and one of these blue things came at me, I think. Or something came at me. 2 damage. Oh! No! I got a little bit farther. Oh! I've never seen those enemies before. I feel like I want to do one more. I'm not finished my beer. I'm only halfway through my beer. I think I want to do one more. It's a collection of 70 mods. I did try out, what was it? What's it called? OpenXCom or whatever it is. I really liked how that worked. The main thing that I wanted from it was just having keyboard controls, which the original game was missing. And I really appreciate it for that. I tended not to use mods or like to change things. And I think the default settings are really close to the original. I think there are a few things changed, especially like little bugs and stuff, but it is really close. But that's the main thing. Like it just, I don't know, I don't like doing everything with the mouse. It makes my wrist uncomfortable. All right, one more run. As the mist clears, the eerie image of a forest forms in front of you. To the east, a vast plain extends towards the horizon. Westward, however, in the thick of the forest, 1,000 pairs of eyes pierce the mist, glaring despondently back at you. I like that monster crawling out of the ground. It'd be interesting if, instead of grass, if it was a reflective pool of water. So you could have the idea that the monsters were hiding in the water, in holes that you can't see under the surface. But then again, if it did that, then you would fall into those holes too. Inside, a winding staircase descends into darkness. Pausing for a while to allow your eyes to adjust, you make your way down the steps, which seem to deteriorate into makeshift planks the further you go. All right, here we go. Here we go. This tune is so good. The music has definitely kept me going through this more than anything else. It is the best part of the game for me. Oh, no, to the right first. So there I got some random drips that missed me, and that one hit me. So it's funny how this game like reuses a lot of enemy types, like with different graphics. But at the same time, it has a ton of unique enemies. Alright, so now we go get our power-up. There's the wiggling fingers. Hi there, Shin Velcro. How's it going? Yeah, the theming, I really like the concept of the game. I think it's set up really well. Part of it's told outside, like the disc. Like it's, if you read the manual, it gives you a nice backstory that sets the whole thing up. And I think it works really well. Like the concept is that you were kidnapped as a child, and some evil wizards transformed you into this warrior beast, and you were their slave, killing things for them for many years. And you've suddenly become aware of what you are, and that you were once human, and you're out for revenge. That's the story. It's not too complicated, but it really sets the tone for like this world full of high and low technology and monsters and fantasy and spaceships. I wonder how far I would have gotten as a kid. I feel like it's something I could have beaten if I got interested in, but really depends. I definitely would have been fascinated by it. Like, well, I didn't have an Amiga as a kid, but I had an Atari ST. There was an Atari ST version, which you know, doesn't look nearly as good. I tried playing it though. The gameplay part felt pretty similar. Even though it doesn't run at a full 50 frames a second, it still felt like it played pretty similar. So, like, I could have ended up with this game as a kid, I just didn't. And I wonder if I would have got myself to beat it eventually. I think the hardest Atari ST game that I actually beat as a kid that I can think of is Defender of the Crown. And I remember that took me a lot of tries, but after a while I started doing better and better at it. And finally I just had the hang of it. I knew the strategy. Ah. 3 hits. 4 hits. So that wasn't a very good blue guys and dragon's heads section, but it's fine. I have plenty of health to get through here. Gotta respect the slug. Okay, here come the pink skulls with goggles. And the yellow bees. Ah. Totally missed that timing. There we go. But yeah, like the the single life thing is, I think it's a deal breaker for a lot of people. It's not for me. I'm still happy with this. I'm still having fun playing this over and over again. I really want to play Shadow of the Beast 3. That one looks like it has some really interesting puzzles. I haven't seen like too much of it, but... Or... Oh, well, maybe that's the wrong way to describe it. I know I've watched a long play of it, but I don't remember too much of it. I just remember it seemed pretty interesting, and I think I'd like to play it eventually. But I wanted to start with this one. And I actually had Shadow of the Beast 2 for Genesis, but somehow it never really caught my interest, and I never got very far in it. And I wonder if I'd have a better time of it now. There's a lot of games that, like, when I was younger, you know, they just kind of bored me, or I didn't want to play them. Like, maybe I'd want to play them a little bit, but... not enough to see everything that's in them. I don't know. I was mostly into, like, Squaresoft JRPGs for a very long time. And I still like those, but I don't like playing them all the time anymore. It's no longer, like, my favorite genre of game, I guess. Yeah. It seems like there's one of these that comes down from above, just back there, just before this last group. It comes down once and then disappears. As if it's, like, replaced by a later one if you don't punch it. Here we go. 1 damage. 2 damage. Oh, 3 damage. I think if I jumped a little further forward over the spike, I took a more rearward position that time. I could have gotten it down to 2. Leander Galahad. What kind of game is that? Power of the Hat? I don't know what that means. I feel like I've heard that name before, but I don't remember what the game is. All right. So if I come out of there with 6 health, and I play the start of this area perfectly, and get up to 12, I don't play it perfectly, I can go back to the well, give myself another chance, and extra... Like, if you go back to the well and then come back, it respawns. Oh, 2 hits from that. That was unlucky. Oh, 3 hits. 4 hits. Bad luck with those. I like how that one's hanging in the tree, and then the like ones you see later on are not. Oh, it's another Psygnosis game? I see. There's the rock, there's the bat. One more bat. And I'm up to 12. Perfect. Oh no. That was mean. But it's okay. I think I can get through the castle as long as I have like 6. Seem to have pretty good luck with it. But it depends. I have died in the castle in this run earlier. Or in an earlier run tonight, I mean. Alright, new set of enemies. I'm kind of disappointed that the bombs that the dragons drop have like a red color as it's spinning down, but then it turns gray. So I wait for that one because the hand comes out. I run at it. I get hit by the hand. Okay, here's the missile. It's almost too late on that. There's the tricky jump kick one. Okay, a little more. There we go. Space those enemies out so they don't come at the same time. And... there we go. Castle with 10. That's really good. I've made it with 11, I think, twice tonight. Or at least once. It's hard to remember what you've done every time. Alright. Behind the heavy oak door is a dank passage that leads through a guard room to a wider set of corridors. Ahead you can make out a T-junction in the passages. The air is thick with moisture. Into the moist castle. Alright. When it goes wrong, it piles it on. So... well, yeah, if you lose your cool with one thing, like... tends to just keep going badly. On the other hand, if you make a little mistake, and you keep calm, and you know what's coming up next, you can usually just keep moving. And just take advantage of the temporary invincibility. Duck. Oof. Almost too late for that one. Snake. Almost forgot the snake. That's good. I think this is the section that I died in this place earlier. Oh. Alright, let's see how well I can do here. 1. 2. Two damage. Okay. That's tied with my personal best for that section. So I crawl up to the second rung. Seems I can get through this every time. Alright, here's a load point. Give me the red thing. There we go. Can leave 2 of these on the ground. Yeah, sometimes the leg gets me. It depends how far forward I go, whether the leg comes after or before. Doesn't matter though, I've got 4 health to recover. So coming back, I don't actually have a good way to deal with all these enemies. But only taking 1 damage is pretty easy with the strategy I just did, so it seems pretty reasonable. Well, table worm. 1 more snake. Here we go. If you don't punch the snake, they land on the ground and they coil up. Look kind of neat. It's a shame that doesn't get seen in the run. 2 axes. I've got hit by those axes a lot. Alright. Pretty good. Now the left section. Gotta wait for the worm. Always take 1 damage there. Here they come. The big gross ones. Oh! Okay, 9 is really good for this section. I think I had 10 once. That's a nice barrel, Tarxix. I wonder if I can... Oh, I feel like I can probably duck the bees if I really know what I'm doing. But this is good. I should get through with 6. Unless I make a mistake. Oh wait, no. I'm counting my chickens too early. I forgot about this whole section. There we go. Well, that's alright. 5 health is okay. What? Oh, I missed a hit. I ducked too early. I haven't been hit by these missiles in a long time. Okay. Ah. Okay, that went terribly. I should have taken 1 damage of that boss. I took 3. I think I'm doomed here. I'm not good enough at the start of this section to survive. I don't think. Trying to remember. Okay, so there's a guy that comes from the left. There's a swarm. Swarm. Another swarm, yeah. I don't know how to get through these swarms very well. Maybe staying on the bottom would be useful, but you have to come a bit above the bottom. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Thanks for hanging out, everybody. Guess it's going to take another attempt to finish this.